if you just if you just accept the premise that the people that are involved in these government systems, these are big government systems. JTTF is a big idea, which is, hey, a federal takeover of local law enforcement. That's the big idea. That was written by David Petraeus. It was called JTF. So if you accept that idea that has happened in the United States, and then you see all these different releases and leaks and so forth as just basically eyedroppers situated in such a way to never let you see the full picture, sort of like the blind man and the elephant sort of thing, giving you a little bit over here and then a little bit over there. If you see it that way, then once you get the full picture and you go, oh, that's an elephant, everything becomes obvious. And what I have said from the very first day of this show is JTTF has been implemented. It was implemented in May the 7th on 1998. The key architects of this are going to be Mueller and Free and John Brennan and Hayden and Michael Chertoff. And this kind of group, I don't want to say Nazis, I don't want to say secret police, but it's this same group of Nazis, or the nuclear Nazis, the Lockheed, those interests, those business interests, those power elite, the military and the enforcement coming together to create this cabal to then push out a mechanism of control over all these different state police departments. The reason why the initial JTTF went to the state capitals was because that's where the state police were headquartered. And you need to infiltrate all the state police departments first before then you go out to the counties. And then you need county sheriffs in different places, in remote places, now that you have helicopters, but in the old days you needed them where there were ports, where you wanted to bring things in and out for your rat lines. And the follow-on, the reason why we have about 85 fusion centers now is because we added about 35 major cities, and most of those cities are port cities, like Portland. Portland was the last city of the 85, and that just happened to be me there protesting that and protesting the setup that they did with a fake terrorism case there to gain the last port city. That's why when people say, well, how could all this have come down on you? I just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. I was in Portland protesting this, and this was the 85th city. I was the last guy, the last man on the last port, who was stupid enough, I guess, to stand in the way. But part of doing a JTTF is not just doing a fusion center, not just dossiering everybody in a state or everybody in a major city. You also have to back it up with civil disobedience. And what are your plans for civil disobedience? If you want to do rat lines like drugs and bring drugs into, let's say, where I believe they were coming in Canby, Oregon, there's a little private airstrip for Evergreen Aviation. Also Columbia helicopters that were financed through this. And again, I made the mistake of being the whistleblower there. But once you have the port, you don't need to start flying things in with helicopters anymore. Once you control the ports, you can just use trucks. And helicopters and planes are a lot more obvious than trucks because there's so many more trucks than helicopters, right? So that's the general idea. And so that is JTTF. It is a massive plan. It is the way a military takes over a country. And America's plan was implemented. And again, there are other people other than me that have said this, with Doug Valentine writing a great book on the Phoenix Project. It was kind of tried out on Vietnam for the first time as JTTF. And then it was implemented in Mexico with Slim's brother. I can't remember Carlos Slim's brother right off the bat, but it was DJS there, or I can't remember the name of the DHS, but then it was then implemented here in the United States after 9/11. Was that we needed a big event, I guess, to sign away all of our rights, but that's when that happened. And the program of low intensity, the idea of low intensity, the idea of identifying losers up front and then dossiering them, all this has pretty much been played out in front of our eyes with the Trump situation. And the nice part about Rod Rosenstein is he's introduced all these characters